Hello there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, survivor, advocate, and certified trauma recovery coach from DanaArcuri.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. If you are new to my channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new content. For those who are returning, who are my viewers and subscribers and who have become my online friends, thank you so much for stopping by to watch another video of mine. Today is another highly sensitive topic. I'll be the first to share that I talk about a lot of subjects that most people don't talk about. And the reason why is because there's so many stigmas in our world, especially in the mental health community, that we really need to speak up and talk about these things. You know, it's almost like there's an elephant in the room and people are just trying to shy away from this big fat elephant that's in the room. And like, we all see it, we all know it. So why don't we all start talking about it? Let's be transparent, let's be authentic, let's be real, and shed the light on how sibling abuse leads to sibling estrangement. And the one reason why I'm bringing up this topic on sibling abuse and sibling estrangement is because it is a very silent epidemic. So people are like, shh, don't talk about it. And yet, if there is a stigma, the only way we can tackle and dismantle the stigmas worldwide is to be authentic and to speak up, to have the courage to give others the ability to speak their truth and their voice and their message. And we could all unite together, not just as survivors, but as thrivers. And so let's get going with this. First, let's say, what is sibling estrangement? So basically, estrangement, whether it's with your whole family or it's with your sibling or even maybe the whole group of siblings, it's basically that you are no longer in association nor communication or a relationship with one or more siblings. And so typically, this is not something that someone does spontaneously or by impulse. It is usually something people later in life, once they're adults and they clearly understand the toxic dynamics between their sibling and themselves, meaning, no, it's not you, you're not the toxic one, it's the sibling. Okay, so let's keep it real. One or more siblings are harassing you, manipulating you, gaslighting you, and they are abusing you, harming you, bullying you, and they might even be attacking you and doing criminal behaviors. And so many people have shared their story with me, and I know I'm not alone in this, and neither are you. So we can come together in a very safe space and openly talk about sibling abuse and sibling estrangement. We'll start with this. There is no shame. There is no guilt for cutting the ties to toxic people who are hurtful, vindictive, and violent. And so there is no shame. The shame doesn't belong to you, my friend. Only the perpetrators can take accountability for their evil actions, words, and behaviors. And so I'm going to share a quote, and it's by one of my author friends. I need my glasses so I can see people. Okay, so here we go. And so Laura Corbeth, who wrote My Courage to Tell, Facing a Childhood Bully and Reclaiming My Inner Child. Her book was so enlightening. And so I read it way back in like 2018. And wow, it really validated me in what I went through. I'm like, this is such a great topic because so many people experience it and nobody feels comfortable discussing it. And so I really gave Laura a lot of credit for having the strength and the courage to speak out on such a highly sensitive topic. As I mentioned, sibling abuse is a silent epidemic. It's impacting thousands, actually millions of people worldwide. We'll get into that statistic in a moment. Okay, so let's first share Laura's quote on sibling abuse. She says, think about it. You cannot ask your sibling to move out. You are like a caged animal. You have to get along with people. So with sibling abuse, there is a power imbalance. And that's really what it is. So in this dynamic, what it is, there is one sibling or several siblings who gang up on the family scapegoat or the black sheep of the family, and they start harassing you. They create smear campaigns. They retaliate. Yes, they're very envious and jealous of you. They're spiteful. They're vindictive. They're hateful. They're bitter. They're cruel, outright cruel. And so regardless that they may say, oh, I'm a good Christian. Oh boy, have we heard that plenty of times. No, they're really not a good Christian. Actually, they're more like the devil. So let's get onward to discussing an article, very enlightening article about sibling abuse. And so it's in an article by Darlene Lancer. It's called The Hidden Epidemic on Psychology Today. So Darlene states, often labeled sibling rivalry, sibling bullying and abuse cause real trauma. Sibling abuse is the most common but least reported abuse in the family. Prevalence is higher than spousal or child abuse combined with consequences well into adulthood similar to parent-child abuse. Up to 80% of youth experience some form of sibling maltreatment, yet it's been called the forgotten abuse. And so once again, no, I will not be silent on this. And no, my own siblings cannot bully me into feeling ashamed for something that I am not to blame. Okay, so the root of sibling abuse is that there is an intent and motive to harm the family scapegoat. They want to control you. They want to overpower you, and they will go to great lengths to do so. And oh boy, do I know that you've personally experienced it, because so many of you have reached out to me and shared your stories. Next, according to the website hopeforsiblings.com, and this is a statistic in America alone, so here we go. In America, there is over 40 million sibling abuse survivors. Society pays a huge price when sibling abuse is not given attention and goes uncorrected in lives of many adults. The overlearned maladaptive coping skills generated by an abusive sibling can affect adulthood because of sibling abuse. Victimization occurred again in their childhoods through bullying. Sibling abuse is often directly connected to the formation of adult personality. And so this is really challenging when we look at all the dynamics involved in sibling abuse. Let me share a few credible facts. Okay, so the one credible fact is in my research. Now, keep in mind, I've been doing a lot of research on the family toxic dynamics, the toxic family legacy, abuse, sibling abuse, and family estrangement. And the newest one was doing research on sibling estrangement. The rate and statistics of being estranged from one or more siblings is far higher than I ever fathomed. And so here we go. According to credible statistics and resources, sibling estrangement is as prominent as divorce in our society. Well, we already know that divorce is at a really high rate. We already know a lot of families are broken. A lot of families are falling apart. It's heartbreaking, and it could be quite humbling too. So the interesting fact about sibling estrangement, I did so much scouring of the internet, and there are a wide range of various statistics. And so instead of just picking one, I'm going to lump it all into the one statistic, because there were different statistics and obviously some of them may have conflicted. So according to these credible resources on the percent of siblings who are estranged from at least one or more siblings, it's anywhere from 41% to 50% within the United States alone. Obviously, I believe that the rate is probably higher. I think that in statistics, we have to understand that not everybody filled out that survey. Not everybody raised their hand and said, yeah, I want to talk about my sibling abuse. Most of us don't want to talk about our traumatic events. And yes, I can understand that. I respect it and I validate it. However, as a certified trauma recovery coach and an abuse advocate for the survivor community, I am going to talk about these hard to talk about subjects, because that is the only way we're going to dismantle and break that stigma. And so this is a really good quote too. Love this quote. Here we go. Pain travels through family lines until someone has the courage to call out the BS. When you bravely go through the agony of healing trauma, you no longer pass the poison onto future generations. It's incredible, important, sacred work. And that is accurate, and that is so very true. Next, we're going to get into some other really interesting information on the sibling abuse and sibling estrangement. So according to utterlyglobal.com, an organization dedicated to anti-bullying, they say children who were bullies in grades 6 to 9 are 60% more likely to have a criminal conviction by the age of 24. A bully is also 5 times more likely to become, let me repeat that. A bully is also 5 times more likely than a victim to have a serious criminal record in adulthood. Okay, so what they're saying is when someone, such as your sibling, started off bullying you as a child, okay, so we call them a child bully. What happens is they grow up to become adult bullies. They don't change. They don't change. They don't ever change. And that is something we must remember. And so they said here, even bullies who grew up to work in an office instead of entering the judicial system cause problems for others. Wow, really interesting. So we have to understand that if someone starts off becoming a bully as a youngster, it's very clear that most likely they will still be a bully as an adult. As an adult survivor of sibling abuse, the most difficult fact pertaining to it is that 90% of abusive siblings deny they have abused their own sibling. No shocker for me. No shocker for me. And the reason why is because they won't take accountability and responsibility. And so we already understand that. We can understand that these people who are bullying, harassing, and abusing at least one member of their family, meaning their brothers and sisters, or it could be an entire group of siblings, is doing what I call family mobbing. Now, family mobbing is basically gang stalking. It's ganging up on one member of the family. Typically, it is the black sheep of the family and or the family scapegoat. And so understand, if you're the family scapegoat or the black sheep of the family, no, you don't deserve this. You are so worthy of kindness, compassion, gentleness, nurturing, respect, and tender, loving care. So we can understand that stages of trauma recovery, if you have experienced sibling abuse, if you are estranged from one or more siblings and maybe even your whole entire family unit. So we can understand Okay, we're back to the basics now. In the research, it states the number one reason for sibling estrangement and actually family estrangement as a whole is abuse. So it could be that you suffered physical abuse, domestic violence, mental abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, financial abuse, and on it goes. And so the stages for your trauma recovery include, number one, identify what took place, abuse. Number two, name what happened, and that is sibling abuse. Number three, name the perpetrators, name them. Number four, release traumatic amnesia, which is living in denial and not speaking the truth about what you experienced. So sometimes people, they're like, I want to be a good person and I don't want to speak bad about my siblings, even though they hurt me deeply. You will not heal if you deny, repress, or suppress your traumatic event. According to Dr. Gabor Mate, he says, repressed and suppressed memories and traumatic events, including abuse, and all the emotions attached to it, actually can cause chronic pain, autoimmune conditions, cancer, and on it goes, including complex PTSD, anxiety, depression, and a lot of other very difficult situations. And so the simple way to put this is, please don't bury your pain, don't deny your pain, don't run away from your pain, don't suppress it, don't repress it. A lot of people say really weird misconceptions about anger. We can understand that anger is a normal human emotion. What your siblings did to you, meaning harshly abused you, it may have been sadistic, it may have been sociopathic, it may have been criminal, it may have been a sexual violence, it may have been so insidious, absolutely horrific. But please know that it's very helpful in your trauma recovery to at least share this with one safe, trauma-informed professional or very close friend who is confidential and trustworthy. So we feel it to heal it. And that is part of the healing journey. Next is number 5, let go of guilt and toxic shame. It is not yours to carry. Please return the guilt and shame to the perpetrators, the toxic abusive sibling. Next, build awareness about sibling abuse and trauma. Obviously, educate yourself, get to know the facts, understand what it involves, understand all the dynamics within a toxic family unit, especially anything pertaining to your siblings who are attacking you, mobbing you, gang stalking you, violating you, and hurting you habitually. Seek emotional support with a trauma-informed licensed professional who specializes in sibling abuse and family estrangement. Obviously, not all therapists, not all mental health workers are trauma-informed, nor educated and personally experienced with sibling abuse and or sibling estrangement. So you don't want to have a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a mental health professional, or whoever that you're working with who is in the dark about sibling abuse and sibling estrangement. You really do want someone who is very, very well in tune, educated, and trauma-informed, and perhaps even personally experienced it for themselves. I could say, as a certified trauma recovery coach, a lot of my clients have dealt with sibling abuse. Why do they come to me? Because I am a survivor of sibling abuse. They want someone who's been there and done that. And I guarantee with me, you will get safe space. There is no judgment when you are coaching with me. I give you compassion, empathy, validation, and respect. Next is that we can understand that When we realize what has taken place, and we could go through our history, we could revisit the painful memories. Sometimes we may just sit with it. We may not judge it, but we just sit with it. We observe it. I'm at a place in my own healing journey where I'm not going to get caught up in the sibling abuse dynamics. Instead, I'm going to just observe the past history, and I'm going to sit with it and understand that there are some people on earth who have not learned their life lessons. They have not self-reflected. They have not taken ownership of their words, actions, and behaviors. And unfortunately for them, I believe it's almost like they have such poisonous, negative, toxic energy that it's like a boomerang and it will return to them. I have personally seen with my own eyes how my siblings have reaped what they have sowed. Some people call it karma. Some people call it justice from God. You call it what you want. I have personally seen karma and justice and all the things unfold with my siblings, even though I'm no longer in a relationship with them. There are times I do hear things. There are some people who tell me things and kind of give me a little update on what's going on. No shocker there that they're not doing well. No shocker there. And so I believe that we must break free from these toxic, abusive dynamics, which leads us back to sibling estrangement. So share with me, are you estranged from one or more of your siblings? Or maybe your entire family unit? What led you to decide to cut the ties with your sibling? Was it physical abuse, sexual abuse, bullying, harassment, manipulation, gaslighting? Was it domestic violence? Was it smear campaigns? Was it retaliation, vindictiveness, just outright psychological abuse? Share with me your story if you feel like it. Obviously, it's a sensitive topic, so you don't have to share graphic details. I give you a lot of respect and a lot of space to maybe share what you feel comfortable with. You could always reach out to me at danaarcuri.com if you'd like certified trauma recovery coaching. Check out my packages on my website at danaarcuri.com. And again, dear souls, break free. It's time for you to step into your power. It's time for you to take back your life, rebuild your life, have safe and healthy, nurturing and loving relationships because you are so worthy of it. Thank you and have a beautiful day.